Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 50, entitled Krishna Establishes the City of Dwarka. Text number 22 to 29. 28 will read the translation and 29th will read the verse and translation and purport. Second verse. Seeing his army tormented by the relentless and savage rain of arrows from the massive opposing forces gathered like clouds about him, Lord Hari twanged his excellent bow saranga, which both gods and demons worship. Lord Krishna took arrows from his quiver, fixed them on the bowstring, pulled back and released endless torrents of sharp shafts, which struck the enemy's chariots, elephants, horses, and infantrymen. The Lord, shooting his arrows, resembled a blazing circle of fire. The Lord, shooting his arrows, resembled a blazing circle of fire. Elephants fell to the ground, their foreheads split open. Cavalry horses fell with severed necks. Chariots fell with their horses. Flags, drivers, and masters all shattered, and foot soldiers collapsed with severed arms, thighs, and shoulders. On the battlefield, hundreds of rivers of blood flowed from the limbs of the humans, elephants, and horses who had been cut to pieces. In these rivers, arms resembled snakes, human heads, turtles, dead elephants, islands, and dead horses, crocodiles. Hands and thighs appeared like fish, human hair like water weeds, bows like waves, and various weapons like clumps of bushes. The rivers of blood teemed with all of these. Chariot wheels looked like terrifying whirlpools, and precious gems and ornaments resembled stones and gravel in rushing red rivers, which arouse fear in the timid, joy in the wise. With the blows of his plough weapon, the immeasurable, powerful Lord Balram destroyed Magadhendra's military force. And though this force was unfathomable and fearsome as an impassable ocean for the two sons of Vasudeva, the lords of the universe, the battle was hardly more than play. So text number 29. Stitudbhavantam bhuvanatrayasya Stitudbhavantam bhuvanatrayasya Samihite ananta guna swalilaya समीहिते अनंत गुण स्वलीलया न तस्य चित्रं परपक्ष निग्रहस् न तस्य चित्रं परपक्ष निग्रहस् तथापि मर्त्यानुविधि यस्य वर्णिते तथापि मर्त्यानुविधस्य वर्ण्यते तथापि मर्त्यानुविधस्य वर्णते स्थितोद्भवन्तं भुवनत्रयस्य समेहिते अनंत गुण स्वलीलया न तस्य चित्रं परपक्ष निग्रहस् तथापि मर्त्यानुविधस् वर्णते स्थिति उद्भवन्तं भुवनत्रयस्य समेहिते अनंत गुण स्वलीलया न तस्य चित्रं परपक्ष निग्रहस् तथापि मर्त्यानुविधस्य वर्णते स्थिति मेंटेनेंस उद्भव creation antam and annihilation bhuvanatrayasya of the three worlds yah who samihite effects ananta unlimited guna whose transcendent qualities swalilaya as his own pastime na not tasya for him chitram wonderful para opposing paksha of the party nigraha the subduing tatapi nevertheless martya human beings anuvidasya who is imitating varnyate it is described. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. For him who orchestrates the creation, maintenance and destruction of the three worlds and who possesses unlimited spiritual qualities, it is hardly amazing that he subdues an opposing party. Still, when the Lord does so, imitating human behavior, sages glorify his acts. Purport. The philosopher Aristotle once argued that the Supreme God would hardly take part in human activities, since all ordinary activities are unworthy of such a divine being. Similarly, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, who almost certainly never read the works of Aristotle, raises a similar point. Since Sri Krishna creates, maintains, and annihilates the entire universe, isn't it an uninteresting mismatch when he fights against Jarasandha? The answer is as follows. The Lord plays the part of human being and, expanding his pleasure potency, creates thrilling transcendent pastimes full of suspense and dynamic action. By the Lord's Yogamaya potency, he appears exactly like a human being, and thus we may enjoy the spectacle of the Supreme Person acting on the early stage. Undoubtedly, stubborn agnostics will argue that since Krishna is God, there is no real suspense involved. Such skeptics simply do not understand Krishna's attractive potency. Beauty and drama, even on the material stage, possesses their own fascinating logic. And similarly, we love Krishna for his own sake. We appreciate his beauty for his own sake, and we enjoy Krishna's pastimes because they are in fact wonderful in and of themselves. In fact, Krishna executes his pastime not for a mundane egotistical purpose, but for our pleasure. Thus, the presentation of spiritual pastimes is itself an act of love that Krishna performs for the infinite spiritual happiness of pure-hearted souls who have transcended material envy of the Godhead. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes an important verse from Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Narakriti Parabrahma Karana Manusha. The supreme truth for his own purpose appears in a human-like form, although he is the source of everything. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find Yan Mitram Paramanandam Purnam Brahma Sanatanam. The source of transcendent bliss, the eternal supreme Brahman, has become their friend. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Idhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tushe Nama. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Ganchana Gaurangi Radhe Runda Vaneshwari Krishamanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Gilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balbhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannatha Ete Nama. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Be'evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakt Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for being present for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I am feeling very honored and happy to get some opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. I seek blessings of all wonderful devotees assembled here so that I can speak something for my own purification. We see whatever material activities human beings does, Srimad Bhagavatam tells that this is just like Punascharvita Charvinanam, achieving the chewed one. There is nothing new, nothing exciting. Whatever people may be excited, they may be working very hard, but ultimately, if you try to analyze and go to the essence, it is nothing but same things: eating, mating, sleeping, defending, and same things people are undergoing: birth, disease, old age, death. And this is happening from millions lifetimes, and there is nothing great about it. So when people read newspaper, in one sense there is nothing new about it. It's same old story in different package, only names are changed, the same stories repeat. Somebody is murdered here, somebody is killed here, somebody is this, and there is not much gain about it. Just talking about it, hearing about it. It's simply useless waste of time. But when we hear about Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, they are not ordinary and they are not temporary. The activities of living entities are temporary, but activities of Supreme Lord are eternal. And these activities keep on happening again and again, but they are ever new, ever fresh, and they can give ever new joy and satisfaction for living entities. And just by hearing this pastime, one can be purified and can be free from all bondage and can go to spiritual world where everything is ever new and ever fresh. Krishna is also ever new, Navayovanam, and ever fresh. So, by reading and hearing about Krishna, we also can become more enlivened and we can become more blissful. Whereas just by hearing mundane news, one may become morose and may not get much benefit, or one may just get entangled in these three modes of material nature, entangled in this material energy. So ordinary person may think that every day we are reading newspaper and they are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. What's the difference? Ultimately we are reading stories only. But no, there is great difference. Reading the stories of ordinary people doesn't much benefit, rather may pollute person's consciousness and may also degrade him. Whereas hearing Krishna's pastimes, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam can purify one's consciousness, uplift one's consciousness, and make one actually properly situated, blissfully situated in one's existence. So here we are studying today 10th canto, 50th chapter, which is entitled Krishna Erects Dwarka City. We know that pastime how when Kamsa tried to kill Krishna by all his means, he failed. Then finally he made his ultimate plan to bring Krishna in Mathura so that he can kill Krishna. But we may make many plans, but our plans, unless God sanctions, cannot be successful. So this plan of Kamsa was not sanctioned by Krishna, and it so happened that in this entire scenario which was planned to kill Krishna, this was very elaborately planned by Kamsa to kill Krishna. But in that episode, in such a big gathering and big festival, Kamsa got killed. And when Kamsa got killed and all his demonic friends were killed, later on Kamsa's two wives, Asti and Prapti, became widows. So they went back to their father's place. And when father heard about it, he became very angry, very upset. Their father was Jarasandha. And later on we see Jarasandha really prepared himself so that he can take revenge and he can do what Kamsa couldn't do. He took up to him to kill Krishna, Balram and all the Yadus. So we see how Jarasandha came with all his army and covered Mathura and was about to attack and destroy Mathura. That time we see Krishna and Balram, when they saw Mathura city and the Mathura was in danger, they came up themselves. Here we see when they just thought, immediately the chariots came from the spiritual world, armed with armor and everything required for fighting, weapons and everything. And Krishna and Balram along with very little army. Jarasandha's army was very huge, 23 Akshoni or something like that. Mahabharat war, there was together, Kauravas and Pandavas, together it was 18 Akshoni. And here he alone had brought 23 Akshoni Sena. So you can imagine how big was that army. So in Kurukshetra war alone, 64 crore peoples were killed. So this 23 Akshoni means is much more than maybe 100 crores. Can you imagine 100 crore soldier attacking one city? Nowadays, all the armies of all the countries together also is not so huge. So, no. But it was a very huge army. And Krishna and Balram, they came out with very little army, practically, small army. But then here we see how they face Jarasandha's army. So we'll just reread the translations of the previous verses and we'll get the idea of how Krishna and Balram face the war. So I'll just read because it's a little exciting. After Lord Krishna had thus invited his brother Balram, the two Dasaras, Krishna and Balram, wearing armor and displaying their resplendent weapons, drove out of the city in their chariots. Only a very small contingent of soldiers accompanied them. As Lord Krishna came out of the city with Daruk at the reins of his chariot, he blew his conch shell. What is the name of his conch shell? Panchajanya. And the enemy soldiers' hearts began to tremble with fear just by the sound, of Panchajanya. Jarasandha looked at these two of them, Krishna and Balram, and said, "O Krishna, lowest of the men, I do not wish to fight alone with you, since it would be shame to fight with a mere boy. You fool, you keep yourself hidden. O murderer of your own relatives, go away, I will not fight with you." So, he's condemning Krishna, considering Krishna as insane. He's saying, you have killed your relatives, you have killed your mama. What a shameful person you are a fool. I don't want to fight with you. You are not worthy of fighting also. And then he turns to Balram. "Oh, you Rama, You should gather your courage and fight with me. If you think you can do it, you may either give up your body when it is cut to pieces by my arrows and thus attain to heaven, or else kill me. The Supreme Lord Krishna spoke. Real heroes do not simply boast, but rather show their prowess in action. So, we see earlier, if somebody of you have seen some movies, such dialogues are there. No? The real heroes don't speak, they show their prowess. So, Krishna is speaking that. We cannot take seriously words of one who is full of anxiety and who wants to die. Oh, Jarasan, just see how much anxiety you have. You have got such a huge army. So much fear you have. If one is fearless, he will come alone. Bigger the army means he has bigger fear. Isn't it? So, lesser the abilities, more external help we need. Nowadays our intelligence memory is gone down, so we need laptop and all these things. That is sign of Kali Yuga advancing. No, we need so much of technology. So he's saying, "Arey, you are yourself full of anxiety, and you are so fearful. We cannot take your words seriously, and you have come here to die." Sukadeva Goswami said, "Just as the wind covers the sun with clouds or a fire with dust, the son of Jara marched towards the two descendants of Madhu, and with his huge assemblage of armies surrounded them and their soldiers, chariots, flag, horses and charioteers." Like we see, wind sometimes covers sun with the cloud. Similarly, practically he covered this Krishna and Balram with his army. But sun is just externally covered. The vision gets blocked, but actually cloud cannot cover the sun. Similarly, it was just external that so much army was covering, but nobody can overpower Krishna and Balram. When this war was happening, it was just happening outside of the Mathura city. So the woman stood in the watchtowers, palaces and high gates of the city to watch. When they could no longer see Krishna's and Balram's chariot identified by banners marked with emblems of Garuda and a palm tree, they were struck with grief and fainted. They must have some binoculars and all these things. Otherwise they may not be able to see. Or they had some very great eyesight, how they could see from watchtowers, from the terrace, the war. So when they are not able to see Krishna Balaram, they feel so much anxiety out of love for Krishna. Seeing his army tormented by relentless and savage rain of arrows from massive opposing forces gathered like clouds about him, Lord Hari twanged his excellent bow. What is the name of Krishna's bow? Sarang, which both gods and demons worship. So Jarasandha just covered everything, and when everything was covered, then Krishna thought, now it's time to take action. So immediately he took his sarang bow and just made that sound, twanging sound. And then Lord Krishna took arrows from his quiver, fixed them on the bowstring, pulled back and released endless torments of sharp shafts, which struck the enemy chariots, elephants, horses and infantrymen. The Lord shooting his arrows resembled a blazing circle of fire. So could not see only. It was so much. Lord was just in all direction. It was like if this fan is rotating, so you can't see it's the blades. It is as if everywhere are there. Similarly, when Lord was shooting arrows, it was appearing his like a circle of fire. Elephants fell to the ground, their foreheads split open. Cavalry horses fell with severed necks. Chariots fell with their horses, flags, drivers, and masters, all shattered, and foot shoulders collapsed with severed arms, thighs, and shoulders. Krishna's shooting was so fast and so powerful that you see elephants, horses, cavalry, chariot, everything was smashed, and even foot soldiers, everybody was killed. And you can just see what was the effect of Krishna's killing. So we see Krishna is source of everything, and Krishna is essence of everything, and Krishna is best of everything. So you want, sometimes people are very much attracted to some violence, fights. You see, if there is fights and all, people get excited. Some people get excited. Jai, wonderful. Violence. And we see in movies, if there is no violence, people don't like it. In movies, especially people like these two things, romance and violence. If there is no romance and no violence, people think kuch maza nahi isme, So we don't have to go to movies to see the romance and violence. You can just hear Krishna's pastime. And who can have romance like Krishna? He is dancing with crores of gopis. Have you ever heard any hero dancing with crores of gopis? And when Krishna fights, he has killed so many demons with different styles. No repetition of style. Different and effortlessly. And now Jarasandha has come with a huge army. Earlier he killed them in Vrindavan without any weapons. In Vrindavan he never used any weapons. So huge demons were coming. But all demons, Putna, 12 miles long, just sucked the breast milk and finished. Then Shaktasur, Krishna just kicked with his little feet, finished. And then Trunavarta, Krishna just embraced him and choked off his neck, and he just fell down from top of the sky and finished. We say Bakasur, he just tear apart his beak. Agasur, he just entered his mouth and expanded, and he just choked and died. We see Dhenukasur and company, all, they just caught hold of their rear legs and just whirled them and threw them on top of the trees. Keshi, he just put his hand in the mouth, increased the temperature of the hand, and all teeth and everything fell down. So we see every demon he killed in a unique style and very effortlessly, and giving great joy and pleasure to his friends. And this time now he is fighting for the first time with the army. Till now one demon was coming, because they themselves were very powerful and they were very confident that they alone will handle Krishna. And now here, first time Jarasandha, maybe he has done a lot of research and found out the strength of Krishna. So he has come with, entire huge army. And Krishna is maybe first time fighting like this with the weapons. And the way he is fighting is amazing. Just single-handedly is killing crores of soldiers. Can you imagine crores of people dying? How it would be? Just within moments. So, the effect of Krishna's fighting was, here it is said, on the battlefield, hundreds of rivers of blood flowed from the limbs of humans. Everything was bloodshed. Imagine, neck is cut, blood is coming out of the neck. Hand is cut, blood is coming from the hand. Thighs are cut, blood is coming from thighs. So because of everybody severely wounded and killed like that, it was rivers of blood. Can you imagine rivers of blood? And this blood was flowing so much. On the battlefield, hundreds of rivers of blood flowed from the limbs of humans. Elephants and horses who had been cut to pieces. From the limbs of humans, elephants, horses, were cut to pieces. In these rivers, arms resembled snakes, arms were floating, because of river. Maybe snakes are there, Human heads were also flowing in the river. It was appearing like tortoise. Head was appearing like dead elephants were lying. It was dead elephants appearing like maybe small islands are there, in the river. Dead horses were appearing like crocodiles. Hands and thighs appeared like fish. Human hair like water weeds. Sometimes in water there are weeds, trees are small weeds are there. Bows were appearing like waves. And various weapons like clumps of bushes. So many soldiers had so many weapons, they were also lying in that blood. So it was appearing that these are bushes. So chariot wheels looked like terrifying whirlpools, and precious gems and ornaments resembled stones and gravel and rushing red rivers, which arouse fear in the timid and joy in the wise. So Krishna, with his saranga, he created complete massacre. And Balramji, with the blows of his plow, hull, plow weapon, the immeasurable powerful Lord Balaram destroyed Magadhendra's military force. And though this force was an unfathomable and fearsome as an impassable ocean for the two sons of Vasudev, lords of the universe, the Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai. The battle was hardly more than a play. So it may appear that, oh, Bapre, Jarachandra is so powerful, he got such a huge army, 23 Akshayanis, and these are two small little kids, just 10, 11 years old. They were young children, when Kamsa was killed, 10, 11 years old, and maybe this was later, maybe 12 years old, not very, and Jarasandha is, hundreds of years old, very, very, powerful Kshatriya. But effortlessly, this Krishna and Balram completely destroyed their army. When practically each and every soldier was killed, Krishna told not to kill Jarasandha, spare him. And when Jarasandha was spared, it was so humiliating. For a person who is honored, dishonor is worse than that. So he got so morose, he lost all his confidence, and he wanted to renounce and go in forest. But on the way, some of his friends met, and they gave him pep talk, motivational speech. Sir, don't worry, these coward boys, what they can do? Maybe you were not little prepared, maybe it was, wrong time, it was maybe something, but don't think you can't defeat. You can, these are kids in front of you, you are very powerful. Don't go by these things. And they motivated him so much. One who had lost all hope, all courage, and who wanted to renounce, again got surcharged, enthusiastic. Just see, power of motivation. So he got so enthusiastic. So again he collected army. Can you imagine? He collected 23 Akshayani's army again. Just say, Pandavas for so many years, they were in exile and they were, making friends and relationship with so many kings. They married so many different princes from different and created friendly kings, and they were able to organize only 7 Akshayonis army. And this Duryodhana, who has been practically emperor of the whole planet Earth, he was able to organize only 11 Akshayonis. But Jarasandha, after being defeated, he convinced 23 Akshayoni of Sena to join, His all Sena was defeated, so he went and met with different kings and tied hands with them and inspired them, motivated them, gave them faith. Can you imagine? He has been completely defeated. In history is that all 23 Akshayoni, every soldier was killed. Now to convince that you please join me, how much difficult it is, huh? But he convinced so many kings, and he again got 23 Akshayani Sena. Again he marched to Mathura. Again he challenged Krishna. And again same, Krishna and Balaram came and easily smashed all of the 23 Akshayani Sena. And again there was river of blood. Again each and every soldier who came, each and every elephant who was there, each and every horse, each and every chariot, everything was destroyed. Only one person was alive, that is Jarasandha. Can you imagine? Everybody was killed. Again, Krishna said, don't kill him, let him free. Second time he went. Second time same thing happened. Again he was morose, but again his friends encouraged him. And again he collected 23 Akshayani army. Can you imagine? What a power of Jarasandha. How much he could. Sometimes we fail and we get morose. But he was like, again, association can matter a lot. Without association one will become morose. He was alone morose, but because of association he got association of Navami, he got super enthusiastic again. Now imagine, first time he was defeated, second time defeated, third time how difficult it would be to convince people, isn't it? Because they will ask what happened. Result was each and everyone who participated, everybody was killed. Now to assist him means, big risk, isn't it? But he gave assurance, no, this time I will definitely kill Krishna and Balaram, Third time again he got such big army, 23 Akshayonis. Third time again he was defeated. Again each and every person was killed. Every horse was killed. Every elephant was killed. Every chariot was smashed. Again same. So like this 17 times it happened. Can you imagine 17 times? So just sitting in Mathura, Krishna killed so many demonic people. That you see, that means during Krishna's time, this earth was overburdened by so many demons. And that's why Mother Earth was, crying, and she was praying that, my dear Lord, please come and free me from this burden of demoniac kings. And Krishna killed so many demons. And then we know 18th time Krishna, because he got the message of Rukmini, he got letter from Rukmini, he ran away from the battlefield. And Jarasandha is thinking, arey, just see, he's such a coward person, he has been so much frightened by me and he's so much fearful of me. Can you imagine? 7 times he's defeated, he's thinking Krishna is coward and he's fearful of me. He doesn't think that maybe Krishna has some higher plan. And later on, we see when before Raso Yajna, when Krishna, Balaram and Bhima goes to Jarasandha and they begged charity for fight. Again Jarasandha sees Krishna. He said, you are a coward. I don't want to fight with coward. You are not fit to fight with me. Can you imagine? How much demonic person can be covered by Maya? He said, oh, this Bhima is very good. I can fight with Bhima. Arjuna is younger. He is also not fit for fighting with me, So here also he had said in the beginning, hey Krishna, you are insignificant. Better I will fight with Balram. At least Balram is son of Kshatriya. You are some coward, So anyway, so Krishna's pastimes are so amazing. We want to hear about violence, but if we hear Krishna's violence, that will purify. And all our demonic tendencies will also get evaporated in heart. If you hear mundane violence, we will get surcharged with Rajagun and Tamagun. And we will also try to, do something demonic, and then we will get degraded. So, similarly, people want to hear and read and see romantic things. But mundane romantic things people hear, then lust in the heart is evoked. And then they may act in lusty ways that will destroy them and degrade them. But if you hear the romance of Radha and Krishna and the gopis, whatever lust in heart is there, that can be eradicated. And one can free from lust and develop pure love, selfless love for Lord and all living entities. This is transcendental. So here in the purport, it is said that Aristotle, philosopher, he argued that Supreme God, why will he take part in this ordinary human activities? He is so great. It is not worth him to be participating in human activities. God is so great and human activities are so insignificant. Why would he any time participate in this? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, just see, actually, Lord is creator, maintainer, destroyer, entire universe. Universe means how great universe is. How many living entities are there in this universe? 8.4 million types of living entities are there. And every type has, like for example, if you see just human being, how many human beings are there in Earth and other planets and all over the universe? And like that, how many universes are there? Unlimited universe. So Lord's potency, if you see, is so great, and for him to take part in human activities, it's like a very insignificant. From ordinary point of view, this war may appear so amazing, making river of blood flow, great, amazing. But for God, for Krishna, it's very insignificant. Nothing great for him. River of blood. He can create ocean of blood. What to speak of a river of blood? So this is very insignificant. So why is Lord participating in such activities? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that he is doing it to give pleasure to his devotees, to awaken their love for him and attract them back home to the spiritual world. So whatever Lord does is all good and beneficial for everybody, and especially meant for pleasure of devotees. This is pastime. Though it is very insignificant for him to fight with humans, but still he does just to give pleasure, to express his love. So we see this. Krishna's pastimes are so amazing. If we just hear from right sources. If you don't hear from right sources, either one will think, just see, how can there be a river of blood and all this thing? Maybe it's this imaginary tale only, Just some useless guy has written something out of his mental speculation. It's just a mythology. So some foolish people may think like that. Or some people think, like Aristotle will think, how it is possible? God is so great, this is so insane. Maybe not possible, God is there, but he is so great and this is insane. So actually to understand Krishna and his pastime is not possible for ordinary people. Krishna himself says that this knowledge is Guhyatam, is the most confidential knowledge, and it is only understood by devotees. God and his pastime, Bhaktya Mama Bhajati. Unless one is a devotee of Krishna, he won't be able to understand this confidential pastimes. And if one is not devotee, if he hears from devotees, he can understand. So we are able to relish these pastimes because we have got opportunity and good fortune to hear from Prabhupada and so many previous acharyas and so many wonderful devotees. So we can get a glimpse of these pastimes and also relish these pastimes. So we see that Krishna is source of everything. Whatever is actually source. Krishna is the sense of everything, and Krishna is best of everything. And ultimately, every one of us are looking for Krishna. And if we somehow or other hear about Krishna, our hearts hankering for whatever heart desires are there, everything will get satisfied. We have desire to hear about romantic affairs, we hear about Krishna, heart will be satisfied. We have desire to hear about violence, and here we see so much violence. But this violence is transcendental, is purifying, not mundane violence. And just by hearing it, we can be purified and we can uplift our consciousness and perfect our lives. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anybody has any comment or any question, we'll take. And if okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.